Hello, hello. Today I'm gonna do a little walkthrough for Stream Avatars. I did not plan this, so it's gonna be a little bit messy, but we're gonna just go through it. If you're not super tech savvy, hopefully it will be helpful. I use this app a lot to make my own avatars. Not that I stream a whole lot, but just when I do, I really enjoy this app. So this is, if you don't know, Stream Avatars is an app for streamers. There's no point in buying it if you're not either going to make a whole bunch of sprites and have fun with that, or if you're not going to use it for a stream. So when you first get started, it's going to prompt you to log in with whatever you're using to stream. And get all that set up so that way you can actually connect. And then you're gonna want to add it into your OBS or whichever. So I use Twitch, obviously, but you can also use this on YouTube, on Facebook. So I'm not entirely sure how it goes for those ones. I will be a little bit more specific towards Twitch because that's what I'm used to using. But yeah, so you're gonna sign up. You're gonna follow the documentation. If it doesn't pop automatically up, you can click this and it will bring you to the website where the documentation is for this app. The documentation for this app is very short and I don't think it's updated very often, so it doesn't cover a whole lot. Like, it covers the basics, but there's a lot that it doesn't cover, and I feel like that's unfortunate because there's so much you can do with this app. So once you've logged in and you've done all that, you're going to want to pull up your OBS or whichever thing it is you're using. In my case, it's OBS, and you're going to add it as a source. It's going to be a gaming source, I believe, like a game capture, and then you're going to make sure that the transparency option is clicked, because if you don't, you're just going to have this screen pop up. Whereas you want this to be hidden, and so that when you connect, everything's hidden except for the avatars. So that's really important to do so that people don't see this screen while you're streaming. It'll be hidden. Everything will be hidden except for the avatars once you connect. So right now I don't have the transparency set up, which is why you're able to see this. So in the general settings, you can choose which viewers get your avatar. You can make it so everyone who comes into chat gets an avatar, whether they're active or just in the chat. Followers and subscribers, maybe you only want subscribers to get an avatar, or only people on your whitelisted list. So you can go into, I believe it's user editing, and add them to a whitelist. So if you wanted to do it like that, I have it set for everyone. I'm a very small streamer, so it's just nice having any active chatters down at the screen. This is however long they stay on the screen before they disappear. If they talk, because they're active chatters, if they talk, then this resets. And max avatar spawn, maybe you don't want a whole lot because your computer is not able to handle it, so then you just lower that number so that it's not spawning too many. Like, you don't want 2,000 avatars on the screen if you're a larger streamer or something. Avatar profile, you can set it up so that it includes a certain set of the avatars. So if I wanted to have all my avatars included, if I only wanted certain ones, I'd get rid of them, save it, and then I'd set it to that profile so people could only use the avatars I have selected. I don't really see any point in this, just because you can have it later. You can choose if you want them to be able to use those or not. But maybe, you know, if you want just a quick and easy way of switching between some, then that's one way of doing it. Enabling auto connect is just when you open the app, this is automatically going here and connecting to this screen. This is a screen where you'll see all the avatars popping up. There's my avatar. So if you want it to connect every time that you open the app, If you don't, leave it unchecked. I have it unchecked because I usually check on things a lot. I make my own avatars, so I'm usually opening it to work on things. Hiding the mouse cursor, it'll make it invisible if it's not focused on the application, so when you have it connected, it's not going to show up on the screen, be in the way of things. Channel mods are bot moderators, so this just means the people who you have modding for your channel. If you want them to have control over this app as well and do certain commands, you click this and it'll automatically give them the status to do it. You can also go to user editing and add them to the bot moderators list. So I have my mod Ken on here so that he can have control over some of the special mod only commands for stream avatars. The extension, I believe, is only for Twitch. I could be wrong, but you can get the extension for Twitch from here. It's a really, really handy little thing. It looks like this. So here's mine. You've got like all the avatars you can choose. It makes it way easier than using commands to put little clothes on your avatars or what have you. And you can do all the actions and everything within the extension. So it's a nice little extension to use, especially if you have a lot of commands that your viewers don't know. This just saves them the trouble. They can do pretty much all of it within this little extension, and it'll show up on your about page wherever you put it on Twitch. So then you can just click announce extension link if you want to have it pop up every now and then, and it'll say like, hey, just so you know, there's an extension for this. Here's the link, and it'll pass viewers a link that they can click, and it'll pop open the extension. You don't have to have that, obviously. You could just tell your viewers like, hey, just scroll down. There's an extension, whatever. If you don't want the extension, just get rid of that. Easy peasy. But I would definitely recommend having it. It makes things much, much easier. The window size, I have it set so that it fits my OBS. When I connect, it'll fit across the whole screen. So, for example, you'll see my little character walking around. I can drag him over here, I can drag him over here, and he's not like hitting a wall right here. If the size is smaller, because I have it fit to screen, so this just fits really well to reach all the way around the screen. So I have it so he can fling a little bit farther than that, but for me this is a good size so that I can have it on my OBS all across the screen and fit it really well. I have it locked, and this is so that it doesn't move. If I move this application at all and resize it, usually if you don't have that, it will also resize the Connect, which is really irritating if you have it, you know, locked on OBS, but then this moves and it will change how it looks. So I would recommend, like, once you get a size you're comfortable with for your OBS and you don't want it to change, click that. Because then it will always keep the same size. It does mean that there's all this extra space over here, but for the purpose of, like, when it's connected, I want that so that my avatars go all the way across the screen. But if you don't want it to go all the way across the screen, that's fine. And you can have it locked a different way. You can also have it full screen, but as it says here in the little thing, it can cause some lag. And really, I don't think you need to have it full screen. It's better to just change the height so that it works for your OBS. Lock it. Displaying the frames per second, that'll just show it when you're connected. I don't have it on because I don't need to see that. You can have the target frames per second, whether you're able to use it low or high. My computer, I use a laptop, so I have it on low, just so it's not taking up so much. And yeah, it's pretty easy. This resizes it based on the window size, so if you're dragging the window around, again, I just recommend finding out which size you want and then locking it. And this will always keep it the same size without messing anything up. Enabling automatic cloud setup. I don't know why you wouldn't want that, but if you don't and you want to do it manually, you just click the little cloud at the top, save, download it. There's a massive delete all button. I'm not going to click that because I would not like to delete everything. Login details is just your stuff here. So I've already got all my stuff logged in. If you want to switch, say maybe you're tired of Twitch and you're like, oh, I'm using YouTube now, you can do that here. So for custom commands, this is the regular commands. You can also create custom commands. This just allows you to rename them. So these are just all the commands, like commands to show the commands, the help command, things like that. So maybe you're using the same command for something else, like StreamElements or Streamlabs, and you don't want the commands to overlap. You can rename them here. It's also a good way to check which commands there are, because the documentation doesn't really go over all of them. There's a lot more than is mentioned. So you have ways to switch your avatar in the chat, you have ways to switch the gear in the chat. It does take some getting used to. Usually you have to do ! gear, and then it'll give you a list, and then you have to pick one of those from the list, ! name of the thing from the list, and then pick one of the gears that you want, which is again why it's so much easier to just have the extension and not use those commands, but they are there if you need them. Currency lets you check how much currency somebody has. If you do ! currency and then at the person, it'll show their currency. Just things like that. It also shows you the commands for the games. So there's dueling somebody, you have to target them. So you would do ! duel, target somebody, and then you can add the amount of how much you'd like to fight them for. So if you win, they get the money kind of thing. Or you get the money, they lose their money. There's bet, placing your bets. So there's a couple different types of bets, I believe. There's like color, even and odd. The color is black and red, so you do like bet, a number, and then black if you want to bet on black. Things like that. So it does show you them here. These are all the bets that you would do. I'd usually just stick to either even or odd, red and black, because it's easy to remember, and easier for your chat to remember also. So you can have it so that it whispers the input or the output, like whether it fails or whichever. You can restrict it to who you want to be able to use this command. So certain commands, like the mask command, are set at bot moderators. This is because the mask command, you can do quite a lot of things with this. Like you can make everybody dance, everybody on the screen fart, which is really loud if you have the sounds on. Things like that. So usually this kind of thing you want to keep it only on bot moderators or you. Caster is just you on your own. But yeah, I would recommend keeping ones like that for just your mods. Whereas these ones, since they're games, I have them set anyone can use them. You don't need to be a mod in order to use them. We've also got the slingshot. A lot of people don't know about the sling, but you can do sling and then the power and the angle. I have mine set up because that is really powerful. I believe it's in mini games where you can change that. Bot options. Yeah, so you can change the maximum power. I think when you first start, its default is like 100 or something like that. 900 is really powerful. It will make your character fly the heck across the screen. I can show you in here, they have the sling option, and it makes it go like that. Or you can use the command, where we would say sling at 900, 900, and he'll go flying off in the direction of 900 at 900 power. So there is commands like that. You can spawn games. You can check the leaderboard to see who's the richest. You can change the background with a command rather than having to connect, disconnect. The bombs, Battle Royale, basketball, these are all games. Battle Royale is the one where you have everybody fight on the screen. Basketball, you use your character as the basketball and try and get it through the hoop. And boss battle, you're fighting a boss with everyone who joins as one of the 3 classes that are available. There's also a magic 8 ball. You can change all of the inputs outputs, sorry, for the Magic 8 Ball here. So if you don't like these answers and you want to change them or make them sillier, you can do so. Roll gives you a number between a certain amount. And the shoutout brings the avatar up. Like the person's avatar gets stuck in the middle of the screen really large to kind of be like, here's this person, shout them out. I don't use it. My shoutout on Twitch is just shoutout SO. So I have it as a different command so that it doesn't get used when I use that. Simply because I have a video pop up of one of their clips instead, and if I have this on, it'll block it. So I have that set differently. And the explode is to make characters explode. This is a newer one that they've added. And it's just, it does what it says. It makes the character explode. So for custom commands, you can actually, if you're using Twitch, you can use this so that you can use channel points to redeem things. So I have it set up so that you can redeem boss battles, Fight Club, which is Battle Royale, the basketball games, things like that, without me having to do them. The Star Party, I haven't figured out yet how to make the stars spawn. I do believe there's a way to do that. I think somebody mentioned it in the Stream Avatars Discord. I just haven't had a chance to look at it. So that one I do manually, but everything else, you can set it up so that it does it automatically whenever somebody redeems this in your chat. Obviously, if somebody redeems like 5 of these things in a row, they're not all gonna work. So it's good for your viewers to know, like, try not to overlap them, because then the application gets confused. But otherwise it works pretty well. So for example, basketball FFA is the basketball free-for-all. It's a slightly different command from the regular basketball, which puts you in teams. This is the command for it. So what you would do is the command here, this name, has to be the exact same as whatever you put your name for the channel point redemption. So you can see that boss battle is the same, all caps, and Fight Club is the same. That's the same as channel point redemption name. You have to keep that the same in order for this to work. So for example, you go and you edit it. It's restricted to the caster, which is you, the owner of the thing. Have to have it on exact match. You have an alias if you'd like to use something else. I just left that blank. It's just being used for this. Currency cost, leave that at 0. Then you're gonna have the command that it's using. So if you can name it whatever you like, and then whatever command you'd like it to run, and then it sends a message in chat if you fill this out. So there's a couple different things. You can also, sorry, let me hide this real quick. You can see here, this is where you go to edit. You can duplicate it. So if you're wanting to make another one with the same settings, and just rename it to whatever the next one is, and then fill it out differently. So if you're having a hard time remembering what to do every time, just do one of them, and then duplicate it and cancel all the stuff that you need to change. So you can do mass fart, mass dance. I have mass explosion, basketball free for all, regular basketball, which is in teams. I'm not sure what I put for the lurking one. Oh, I put a hug. You can do mass dance, bombs away, which is the mass bomb, and drops a whole bunch of bombs on everybody. So it's a really easy way to make it so that you don't have to do things while you're streaming. You can just get people to redeem it with their channel points, and there you go. It just automatically starts, which is great. Obviously I made like custom little icons for it. I thought that was cute. Yeah, so that's how you use custom commands. I'm sure there's other uses for it. That's just the most useful one that I know of. Really, really recommend, so that you're not, you know, stopping in the middle of things when somebody redeems something to go do it on the screen. It's kind of a pain. And then you're having to stop whatever you're doing to do it, so just save some time. For the bot options, you can allow dance, You can allow hugging each other, attack. Obviously, cooldown is how long between each command they can use it. Allow fart, you can set the volume whether it's on or not. It's really loud for mine, and everyone in my chat keeps telling me it sounds like a wet fart, and they are not wrong. If I spawn some guys in here, and I click on my character, right click him, I can enter the command for mass fart. This is what it sounds like. So, some people really like this. Other people get surprised and they're like, that's disgusting. But I think it's funny, so I leave it on. If it got used too much, I would definitely have the cooldown a lot longer. And I have the mass fart so that it's only a channel redemption. Nobody can do the mass fart unless they redeem it with channel points. But you can definitely turn the volume off or just disallow it entirely. If you have avatar emotes on, they'll make a face in a little speech bubble above their heads in relation to whatever they've done. So the fart, they make like a little embarrassed face above their head. If you enable leaderboard effects, it gives the person who's at the top of the leaderboard like all these fancy stars and things. I have mine off because I can't figure out how to get rid of it on my head, because I don't need it on my head. But it looks cute. It puts little stars and things sparkling over their head. Despawn's exploding animation just gets rid of the exploding animation. Pretty straightforward. Then the bomb. So the bomb looks like this. And it costs, for me, I put it at 10 gold, so it costs 10 gold for somebody to use it. And they can use it as many times as they want. There's also a mass bomb option for moderators to use, so I have that as a channel point redemption as well. You can change the animation if you'd like. Gives you a little information here about it. I don't have it changed. It's currently at the same one. I might change it in the future though. But there's definitely the option of that, which is nice. Pinning the avatar is literally you take a pin, which is this one here. You take the pin and you click the avatar and stick it to the screen with a pin. That's pinning the avatar. You can right click it to get rid of it again, and it stays up there depending, like for however long, depending what you put here. If you put it at 600, they stay there forever. For it. I don't remember what it sounds like because I've had it off forever, because then it pops up every time somebody chats. Though obviously there's a sound cooldown, so if you don't want it happening all the time. But I don't really see why you would have the volume on. But if that's something you'd like, you can put that there. You can put your own sounds. You upload them here, and then you choose them from the list. And displaying text is just, it puts a little speech bubble over their head with part of the text of what they've typed over their avatar's head. So I have that on because it's kind of nice to just see little avatars talking. The follow event, bits event, subscriber event. This is when somebody follows you, gives you bits, subscribes. Pretty straightforward. I use StreamElements, I believe, to send a lot of the messages like thanks for whatever and popping a thing up on the screen. I don't have the chat message turned on because it already sends something. But if you're not using something like that, you can put a little chat message of like, oh, thanks for following, blah, blah, blah. And you can choose which command you'd like issued. So all of my people, it makes the characters on the screen, dance around, do a little jig, if somebody follows, whichever. So you can change this if you want them to do a mass fart every time somebody follows. You can change it to that. If you want there to be a mass bomb every time someone follows, you can do that. You can change this to whichever mass command you'd like. I thought there was a mass hug, but I tried it recently and it did not work. But I could have sworn, but previously there was a mass hug where it would make all the characters like go up and hug each other, but it hasn't been working, so I don't think it's there anymore. Or maybe I was just imagining things. But most commands, like you can even do mass sling and sling people in one direction kind of thing. So most commands can be used with mass in front of it, including custom commands that some avatars might have. You can also, again, upload sounds and choose a sound that you want to play during that. I don't have any because, again, I'm using StreamElements for that. And this is just how many bits are required for this event to happen. Obviously, one or more is usually best, but maybe you're used to getting tons and tons of bits, so then you only have it for a certain amount. But I would recommend just setting it at 1. The mini games, so there's a bunch of different mini games. You've got the boss battle, you've got basketball, battle royale, dueling people, jump catch star, roulette, slot machine. So we'll go through these. There's the default reward, how much time people have to join the game. I put it at 60 seconds because it usually takes people a little bit. Like maybe the stream is delayed a bit so they don't see, oh, I can join. It does tell you in the chat if you have it turned on, like, hey, it's your turn, here's, pay attention, and it will add them. I also recommend if, actually, even if you have like a very active chat, I still recommend putting on filler bots, because then if not enough people join, they'll have backup bots to help them out. If you don't have that, they'll probably lose at fighting the boss unless it's very easy. So you can actually have it like boss and then easy to do an easy mode, boss normal, boss hard. If you'd like to change the reward, you just put the amount of gold at the end, but the default is whatever you set it here. And I think depending on difficulty, it changes to the custom bosses. And this is just the text color and background for the abilities are, when you pop up, you get 3 classes. There's warrior, priest, and mage, I believe. So then when it's your turn, it pops up on the screen like, hey, here's your 3 options. Type a 1 in the chat, or type a 2 in the chat, or type a 3 in the chat for your using one of your abilities. If you don't type the numbers, you can also do like Mortal Strike, things like that. It'll tell you on the screen. So this is what colors it pops up on the screen. So if you want them to be more readable, you might change these colors to something else. You also have sounds. Again, you can choose different sounds if you'd like to, or you can just leave it blank. You can edit the layout, which shows you, maybe you want the text box to show up on a certain spot so it's not blocking your chat. You can change the boss position, so mine's over here, but maybe you want it over on the other side, things like that. You can reset it to default. It's pretty easy. That's a kind of newer thing that Kwanzi, the creator of this, added. Because it used to be you'd just be stuck with it in one section, but it's kind of nice that they put that in there, because then you can set it up so it fits your stream. The custom boss, you can get bosses from the Steam Workshop, which we'll look at in a bit. You can also create your own boss, which is difficult. In comparison to creating your own avatars, it's a lot more work. You can look at the one, so you'll get a default Pumpkin King from Stream Avatars. You can also download ones. I got these 2 from other people who have made them, and I'm testing things out here. So it gives you the options of adding animations for when it's idle. So I put, this is just a test, I put a very fat cat as the boss. So when he dies, he does this and explodes. When he's hurt, he starts crying, things like that. So you can change it to whatever you like. We can look at the other ones people have made. So you've got like really intense Charizard. This is when he's hurt. Things like that. The intro animation. Obviously, this is more complex than my cat. But you can still have fun with it. It doesn't have to be like amazing. It's really good to look at the Pumpkin King one that comes in, because then you can see all the buffs and abilities as well and how those work. So if you're planning on creating your own boss, I really recommend getting some other player-made bosses just to look at what they've done and see how it works. You can change the health, everything like that for what you like. You can change the rewards to custom rewards, the size, the scale of the boss, name of the boss, their intro colors, things like that. So you can get ones made by other people, or you could try to make your own. It's a lot of work, but I think it's fun if you have your own custom bosses. If that's something that you like to do, it is an option. Then we go down and we've got basketball, and it says you can play with teams or free-for-all modes. I think a lot of people don't realize there's a free-for-all mode, which pretty much is you're not on teams. You're just your own little character. Anyone can join. I don't think that there's a limit to how many people can join that one, whereas with teams there is. And it's fun to just watch everyone go crazy trying to get it in the net. The net appears on the screen as like this little section to shoot them through. And then you use not sling, but you do like a number and a number. One of the numbers is the angle and the other number is the power that you're shooting them at, and that shoots the character across the screen. You have the win amount. MVP is just whoever did the best on their own, so they get extra points. Even if their team doesn't win, they'll still get these points just for being really great at it. Here's the points, the number of points required to win. Things like that. You can change the name of the team names, you can change the color. You can also change the image of the banner. I have mine changed. I don't remember what I put it at. It will show me or not. But you can create your own little banners for your teams and throw them in there so that they pop up. And again, with the sounds, you can put your own little sounds in there. Battle Royale is everybody who's already on the screen. So if you have like all your active chatters, you might want to tell them ahead of time, like say something really quick so you can get in this. All the active chatters who are on the screen will get thrown into this. A little plane will go across the screen. You can change the image of the plane. So I have mine as a cat in a cloud that floats across the screen and then drops all the players. But the default is a plane that goes across the screen, drops all the players onto like a new scene. And again, you can edit the layout for that so that they'll show up on the screen, drop down, and then they'll just fight to the death until only one person is left standing. There's also med kits. You can change the image for that. I changed mine to little stars. I think the original actually looks like a med kit. And if players pick that up, it gives them health, so they can last a little bit longer. And whoever wins gets this amount. Nobody else gets this amount, it's whoever is the last one standing. Some people have this at a large amount, like 500 gold. To be honest, I'm not sure why mine is so low. We're gonna save that. This is the save button up here. Anytime you make a change you want to hit that button. You can also have a loot reward, which is essentially the same thing. I don't have anything set there. The duel and wager, so you can duel somebody. There is like a exclamation point attack to just attack someone. It doesn't cost anything. It just makes your character run across the screen and yeet the other character across. But the duel, it challenges them to a duel. There will be text in your chat being like, so-and-so has challenged so-and-so to a duel. Do you accept? Type accept. Exclamation point accept in the chat to accept or decline. So they have a certain number of seconds to accept the duel. If they accept it, they fight. If they don't put an amount, they're just fighting just to fight. But they can put an amount for how much gold they'd like to put as a bet. So if I win, And I've put duel somebody 500, then we're fighting for 500 gold. If I lose that amount, and if I win that amount. And again, sounds, same thing. Upload sounds here, pick them from the list. Jump catch star is when a little random star floats across the screen. You can spawn stars in yourself. Once this loads, with this button here. They look like this. This is the original art for it. And they'll say jump. You can also bomb your own characters. A lot of people in my chat like to redeem the mass bomb after redeeming me clicking all these stars around, because then it just bombs everybody up. You tend to hit a lot of the stars. You can jump, you can sling, you can bomb, pretty much anything to make your character go up and get them. Each of the stars are worth a certain amount of gold. So for mine, it's 15. It awards 15 gold for each star. So sometimes you can get a lot of gold for that. I named mine gold. I'm pretty sure the default name for it is coins, but you can change the name in the shop editing. And again, you can change the pixel art for that as well. So you can really, really customize everything in this to a certain amount. There's some things that you can't customize yet, but the guy who works on this adds a lot of things in quite often. And I really recommend checking the Discord for it, because sometimes people make certain things in there that you can, like, there might be pixel art that you don't find on the Steam Workshop. You can commission people in there for making pixel art for you. So definitely recommend, like, if you're wanting to get into the customization side of things, to check that out. Pretty sure it's just Stream Avatar's Discord. You can choose whether there's particles, so those little sparkles that were around, that it rotates, that it shows exclamation point jump or not, that it wobbles, that it moves, things like that. I have them all checked off, so everything you saw part of this. Frames per second if you're changing the image. And loot reward is just, again, an extra. You can create loot and make it more than 15 or something like that. But I don't use it because it usually sends a message for each one. I created some silly ones for a pirate kind of vibe, but then when I tested it out, it just keeps sending the message and kind of a pain. So I just leave it off. It's easier to just put the currency reward there. But you can get into that, create your own loot. I'm not sure. Okay, never mind. You can. I'm pretty sure you can make it so that you're able to gift somebody an item, and that can be part of it. So it's useful for that. You just use one of the commands for the gift command. But I don't use it for that. You can just gift people things when you need to. Roulette gambling is just betting, so the default command is bet, but you can change that if you're using something like StreamElements that has a bet command already. You can make it so only your moderators or yourself can start the game. Again, you have to set your bot moderators, so if you don't automatically, like, it doesn't automatically give your moderators this status, you have to give it to them. Cooldown, the chat message, and again, this is the one where you're betting an amount, and then red or black or even or odd, that kind of thing. You can have the maximum amount they're allowed to bet. Maybe you want to limit them so that your chat doesn't go crazy getting rid of all of their gold. Or maybe you want to let them get rid of all their gold and laugh at them when they lose it all, which is what I have done. You've got the slot machine and all of the stats for that, like whether you'd like them to, what happens when you get it, how much of a chance they have to get it, how much it multiplies their bet for it, the minimum amount that they're able to bet. So for mine, slots 5. If you just type slots, it will automatically use whatever the minimum amount is. So if they don't have 5, it will pop up in chat like, you don't have enough gold for that. Now we're moving on to the Steam Workshop. This is where you can download other people's pixels. So if you want different avatars, if you want different bosses, if you want backgrounds, this is where you would go for like a quick and easy way to find different avatars. There's a lot on here. There's a ton of Pokemon and Smash ones. There's a lot more from the last time that I looked in this. I looked at this today and I was like, man, they've added like 10 more pages than there used to be. So there's a lot of different characters that you can download. You can view them on Steam for more details, or you can just download them straight from here. It's pretty straightforward. But again, Stream Avatars Discord does have more. So I would almost recommend like look through here and also look through, like join the Discord, look through the Discord, because they have a channel on there for people to post their pixel art. Some of them don't put it on here, but they put it on the Discord. And you can also find people to commission in the Discord if you'd like ones that are special just for you. But again, you can also make your own. And I think I'm going to save that for last because it's kind of a lot to go through. I make my own avatars. They're very simple, but they're fun. But I think we'll go through that last. So the sounds, you have to have them to OGG file format. I just use Audacity for that. Audacity is a free program that you can download. And it's pretty good, honestly. So you can use that to convert a regular like MP3 to an OGG, and then import it here, give it a name, whatever you want the volume to be. So I've used this for both for sound effects for the mini games and what have you. You can also have it in the shop. So if you want your chat to use it kind of like sound alerts, you can do that here. And allow them in the soundboard command if you'd like them to use them. So these ones chat can use, this one chat can't use because it's a sound effect for something else. Things like that. You've got a master volume. They're pretty loud to begin with, I think. Like they're pretty loud if you have them at full volume. You can change the pitch, so if you want them to sound funny, you can do that. But it's a really good, like, if you don't want to use sound alerts, you've got this right here. And you can add pretty much as many as you want until your app is like, oh, I'm too slow. You can set it at a random range, so it'll just go at a random pitch, whichever. And yeah, you can put these in here so that you can use them for sound effects for certain mini games and whatever, or you can put them in the shop. And you can have them on the sounds page, make them cost a certain amount. We'll get into this a bit more later. Backgrounds are just, you can download some. I made a really crappy one that looks like this, and it just gives you a background for your characters to walk along. You can put blocks and things like that on it, objects. You can have an animated background. They've put a lot more into it than the first time when I first did this. But essentially it's just giving your characters a stage to go on and walk around on. So if you don't want it to just be walking around on your screen blank, you can put a background. The other good thing about backgrounds is when you connect and you have a background on, so like say this is my background, you can put blocks on the screen. You can put collision blocks, which means they can't go past it. You can change the transparency of those blocks so that your viewers don't see it. So if I go back, you can't see the blocks, but he's not being able to walk past those. You can see them when you're doing this, obviously, but you can also change the color. So if you want them to not be transparent, it just changes the color of the block. You have a spawn zone, so if you want your avatars to only appear in certain spots, you can do that. With this, ladders to make them go up. You have one way to make them go a certain direction. And you can clear all the blocks easily just by clicking that button. So the nice thing about the backgrounds is if you are wanting to use like a certain scene with certain blocks, these blocks will save with the background. So if I even just have a blank background, up too high. I have a blank background and I've got these blocks that I want to save, and I don't actually need the background, I just need the blocks. just create a blank background for it. Those ones are high because I had them at a different height, but it's very handy for saving the blocks. Because maybe you want to make sure, maybe you want this across your whole screen, but your camera is down here, right? So you'll put a collision box so that they don't go on your face. Even when they get bombed into the sky, they won't fall down there. It's very handy for that. And while I'm here, I may as well go through this really quick. So you can pick up your avatar, and he'll swing around a whole bunch, or you can hold Alt and he'll be static, so that he doesn't fall when you drop him, because otherwise they might end up like that. If you right-click them, you can choose whether they're spawned or not, so I can get fantastic. So you can see that they're mod, that they're subbed, that they're following. They're a bot mod as well, so he has permissions for all of the special moderator commands for stream avatars. You can change their avatar here. They have to have it in their inventory, so if they haven't bought it, you'd have to gift it to them in order for you to select it and change it to that. That's the name tag that he has over top of him, the color of it, and how much money he's got. You can do this for pretty much anyone. I also have a friend Grayson, let's pull him in here. I put him in the Waluigi costume that I made for the cat ghost. So you can see here he's not a mod, he's not a bot moderator. I could put him whitelisted here, I could put him blacklisted here. It gives you all those options. And again, if you have transparency set up, so that you're, you know, if you're streaming, all you'll see is these guys. You won't see any of this. Your viewers won't see any of this. So you can do all of this while you're streaming, and they'll only see the characters walking along the bottom of the screen. They won't see this horrible lime green background, which essentially just acts as the green screen. You've also got the master volume, so if you want to quickly change kind of the farts because you're tired of hearing it, you can do that. You can gift something to people, so you can actually right-click on somebody and it automatically puts their name there, or you can search in the list, type their name, whichever, and you can gift them something. So the ghost cat right now, and I can choose a ghost item to give to him and gift to him. And it'll show a little gift box if they don't already have it. You click that, and now they have it. You can also make their currency a lot more than they have, things like that. It's pretty useful for that. The bomb we've already seen. Pretty much all it does is drop a bomb. So you can go crazy and click lots, but really you don't need to do that when there's a mass bomb command. Really up to you though. The slingshot we've seen, you just click and drag and shoot them across the screen. Whew. There I go. This little alien looking thing, this is for the avatars, so you can click and spawn in some avatars. Maybe you're testing out your avatars and you need to see what they look like. If you don't have them in the shop, they'll spawn here. You just right click to make them disappear, and that applies for everybody, so I can make Grayson disappear again. And the stars again is like before I showed you. You can spawn a star, right click it to make it disappear if you're like, I didn't mean to do that. The pin I also showed as well. I can pick up pin him. You might swing around a little bit, struggle a little bit. Right click to let him go. And that's just the quick access here. You can also change the background color. You can scale them, so maybe they're, you know, too small and you want them really large. I have mine scaled at 3 times what they are originally, or like scale 3. I actually made these really tiny. They're 50 by 50 and they're smaller than 50 by 50. So I have them already scaled up, but if, you know, I wanted an easy way to scale them up, make them massive, I could do so here. Also changes the size of the name tag that they have. It didn't work because I didn't let go. I can definitely change that. The stacks of how many you want to be able to stack when people are passing each other, and chat bubble scale for when people are talking and there's a little chat bubble over their head. I have mine pretty small so that it doesn't like take up so much space. But it really just depends on what you'd like. You can close that and have it hiding. I have auto hide on so that when I'm not hovering over that, it disappears. And disconnect back to this. We were looking at backgrounds, name tags. Name tags are like what you've seen. I created my own so they match my avatars a bit better. You just click create new. You can sort them, rename them, whichever, and you just get to choose like how tall you want it, if there's a background or not. So maybe you want a background, change color, border, texture, things like that. So you can customize it so that it looks nice on your screen with whatever your background on your stream is. I have mine outlined so that it's easier to read and spaced out nicely. I kind of wanted to make it so that it's not going to be too large on the screen, but still be readable and still should be showing quite nicely. You can show it behind the avatars. So in this case, it would be like if the avatar is really big and you just want it to, or like if they're passing behind each other. You can hide it for however long, depending on like if they've talked recently, their name tag will pop up. You can have it so that they collide, so the sprites aren't overlapping, and how many stack upon each other. So I have it only at 2, so only 2 names can show up, because otherwise you might have like they're all passing each other at once and there's like 10 names, then it goes up pretty high. So I have mine set at 2. Fades out if there's too many of them, and it'll just disappear. And these are the options for the text. You can have them all different. And for whatever reason, it likes to give me a background, even though I don't have it checked. Sometimes you have to check it, uncheck it to make it disappear when you've changed the text like that. Importing and output, exporting. I don't know why I was saying output. So this is for if you create your own sprites or whichever and you want to export them so that somebody else can use them. Honestly, I need to delete all my backgrounds because they're useless. But I haven't gotten around to doing that. So it'll show your backgrounds that you have. It'll show avatars that you have. You can do it so that you're just getting the bosses, things like that. You can do these at the same time and export it. Or you can just click all the ones you want, export it, and it'll export it as a zip file, which is what you want to load in when you're importing it. So say you go on the Stream Avatars Discord and somebody has a zip file of avatars they've made and you're like, oh, I want that. This is where you'd go. You'd come to this page, you'd select import, you'd click on the file and upload it, and there you go. Now you have those avatars. As long as they haven't like given you a virus or something. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Usually pretty good for the Discord. They look at it quite often to make sure there's nothing sketch. And for the Steam Workshop, obviously, you're not going to have a whole lot of issues with that. Yeah. So it's a nice way to just come here, like if you make your own avatars and upload them and have all the settings. It comes with the avatar and the gear, however you have it set up. Export it. Everybody else can have access to that. So I have most of mine up on my Patreon, so that they can enjoy all my silly avatars if they so choose. So the shop editing is really, really useful because you earn a lot of currency. So the first thing you're going to want to do, probably when you first get this, actually, you'll want to come to the currency settings, rename it to whatever you want. So I have mine at gold. Maybe you want it to be rupees because you have like a Zelda themed stream, something like that. You can change the name here. You can actually use StreamElements currency if you want. I have mine at Stream Avatars currency, and they gain the currency however long they're in the stream. So they're hanging around, they're not a subscriber, they're not a follower, they get one gold every 120 seconds. If they are a follower, they get 5 gold. If they're a subscriber, they get 20 gold. So it just is like they're participating or they're just lurking in the background. They start earning gold that they can use for stream avatars as long as you have this connected. So they earn it pretty fast because it's every 120 seconds, and then there's also all the mini games where you can get gold, things like that, all the stars. So when you're putting things in the shop, I put mine at a price that reflects how much money I know that my viewers usually have to be spending and wasting on things. So you don't want to make it like too cheap or too expensive unless it's something you want to make hard to get. So I have certain things that are special, so they cost more. The sounds cost more because once they're able to use those. You can put the sounds on like a cooldown, but I have it so that only followers can get the sounds. This is another really good thing. You can put a lot of things so that they cost bits. If you don't want them to cost stream avatars gold, you can actually put it at bits. So if I wanted like a certain avatar to be 1 bit, and it's like a special bit unlock, you can do that. I have all of my stuff currently set at just stream avatars coins, but it is an option. You can make it so that people can only get this if it's a gift. You can't get it unless I gift it to you. Put that back. You can also have an and condition or an or condition, so maybe like it's a gift or they're a follower, or it's bits or whatever. Or they have to be a follower and it's a gift, or they have to be a follower and it's cost bits, that kind of thing. So these ones here, the rat, the tiger cat, the frog, only my followers can have these avatars. You have to be following to access these ones. Whereas these ones can be accessed even if you're not a follower. You can still get some fun avatars, things like that. You can set them so that only mods can have a certain avatar. And pretty much everything that you can customize about avatars, you can find in the shop as well. So if you want to have different colors for your avatars and you want to make them cost a little bit to unlock the colors, you can do that here. And the whole thing just applies to everything. So you've got all the gear that they wear. You can put it costing depending how much. So I have a Doug Dimmadome outfit for one of my cats. So I put that at a higher price because it's like a special outfit to unlock and look silly, and only followers can have it. You can also do this with the actions. So if you want only certain people who have unlocked it to be able to use the fart, you can make the fart cost money. You can change it to cost stream avatars gold, or they have to be gifted it, or they have to be followers, things like that. So it might not actually be a bad idea to make it just followers for the fart so that random people aren't coming in your stream and just farting all over the place. But I have mine open because I guess I trust people. Or I trust them to not know that they can do that is more like it, but there is that option. If people are abusing it, you can make it so only subscribers can use it, things like that. And same with the name tags. You can make those things cost a certain amount, or only certain people can use them. Again, sounds. It's unfortunate that they don't have the bits for the sounds, but it's still, you know, a useful thing to have here. Another thing with the currency, you can show it on the extension, so it'll show how much you have. Currency commands are just like, you do the exclamation point currency, and it'll show how much gold that you have. Streamer owns all the items. That means you've got everything. You have access to everything. So when you're connected, if you want to switch through avatars really easily, even though they cost money, you can do that. So I have mine like that so that I can try things on and check that all of my avatars work when I've made them. But it's up to you. You can have it unchecked so that even you have to, you know, work your way up there. But obviously you're going to be earning gold at a much faster rate because every time that you have it connected, you're earning gold. And every time you're streaming, you're earning gold, so you'll collect it pretty quickly. You have it so that if somebody buys something in the shop that costs bits, that's an amount greater than 0, it'll send a little message. You can change the message so that it's more personalized. And that's the shop. It's pretty handy little thing. I like the shop. I don't think enough people take advantage of this or know how to use it. So I think like it's a really good thing because it encourages your viewers to use stream avatars, and if you spend time in your chat, they're able to unlock some things for their avatars, and it's, you know, all fun. If you have it for free, then it's not much of a challenge, and what else are you going to use the money on except for trying to be the richest, which some people do like. But I think it's good for the people who aren't that competitive and just like customizing to kind of, you know, encourage them to save up for things. The user editing. So we went over the whitelist bot moderators. You can blacklist common bots, so you don't want StreamElements to show up as an avatar. You throw them in here. This button is helpful. It just throws a whole bunch of the common ones in there. You can blacklist people you don't like. Things like that. We've got moderators. You can add them in here manually. So even if they're not a mod on your channel, but you know they're really good with stream avatars, you can mod them here. Just add their name. Deleting user data resets everything. So I don't recommend clicking this unless you're like really set on resetting everything. But the option is there. You can clear everyone's currency, make them start fresh. You can clear the leaderboards, make them start fresh. You can force everyone to reset everything to defaults. And there's also spawning defaults. And this one's relatively new as well. Basically adjusting the settings for all the viewer types. So maybe you want subscribers to spawn at a certain set or a certain avatar. Like you want all the subscribers to automatically, if they haven't picked something, just to spawn as a frog. Things like that. I don't have anything set for that because most of the people that come in already have something chosen, and I just leave it so that it, you know, goes up as something random. Mostly depending on this. Like you don't have the profile on, they're just gonna come as something that doesn't cost money in the shop. They'll spawn randomly as one of the things that are free. That leaves us with the final thing, which is avatars. To create avatars, you'll need something to create pixels on. There is a free website called Piskel. It's Piskel, which I really recommend, especially if you're like completely new to pixel art. It's free. You just go on there, you create the pixels, you can export sprite sheets, all those things. It's a really easy, user-friendly thing to learn on. If you're more used to pixel art, a lot of people use Sprite, which is what I use. I use that actually with Piskel together because I'm so used to Piskel that it's just easier for me to go back and forth between the two. So I'll, you know, maybe use one of the apps to create the pixel art and then the other app to make the sprite sheet. Because I find it's actually really easy to make the sprite sheets on Piskel more than it is on Sprite, but that just might be because I'm used to it. But essentially, you're gonna need to create a sprite sheet. If you go to the documentation, it'll lead you through like the first little bit of that. Once you have your sprite sheet, you upload it to this folder. So you're gonna click this folder, and it brings you to where the data is for the avatars, the backgrounds, the boss, things like that. And you're gonna throw your sprite sheet into the avatars folder. And then you're going to save, and it'll pop up in this list. And when it first shows up, it's going to look kind of funny because you have to resize it. So let me just this really quick. So you're going to resize it. So mine's 50 by 50, so I put the size in here, and then that chopped it up into the proper sizes like that. So all the little animations. The first 5, I believe it is. First 5 animations are set, so you always have the idle, the walk, the sit, the stand, the jump. And then after that, if you have any more rows in your sprite sheet, those will be custom ones, so you can change the commands for that. And you can make as many as you want. So if you have like a ton of animations you want your characters to have, you can just keep on going and keep on adding commands for them. The advanced lets you, whether it's return to idle, holds the last frame, if the animation is on a loop, how many times it loops. If you put it at 60, it just loops for forever until they do a different command. Whether it targets a user, so for example, like the hug or the attack, it targets a user. If you want it to override one of the animations that are in this, so for example, the hug animation, there is a hug animation already, even not in this list. If you wanted to override that with your animation, you would just change this to the same name. So it would be hug, and then that would override the generic default hug animation. And you'd want to put it at target a user so that they're going to go hug somebody. but it's pretty handy. So you do that. You have it enabled. That means that people can use it. If you don't want them to use it because you're not finished it, just uncheck that. You can have their move speed, things like that. Their scale, so I have mine scaled at 3 because they're pretty teeny tiny compared to the size that I have it loading on my OBS, so I have it scaled up. But it usually is default at 1, and again, you can, when you connect, there's the option to scale it from there, which is probably what I should have done. But you know, sometimes it's just easier to have it like that. But the problem is, if you do scale this, you also have to scale all of their gear to the same. So like this bandana, I had to scale to 3. This beat, I had to scale it to 3. So with the gears, actually before I get to that, let's go to the palette editor. So we don't have any gear on, we go to the palette editor. None is the default, so that's what your character already looks like. You're going to use the color picker to pick the colors and add them to here. You're going to do this, pick the colors, add them. Black, the black's on there, that kind of thing. Then when you create a new one, it'll bring you to whatever you've got, and it'll have a little thing down like this. So if I've picked a black, it'll show it's black at first, but then you click here and choose a different color, it'll change the outline of your character like that. And it's just a really, really easy way to get a whole bunch of different color options. So I have all kinds of colors for this jelly cat so that people can choose what ones they like. It's very useful if you have like a little human character and you want them to easily change their skin tone. You can do it like that, change their hair, things like that. So it just changes the base of the avatar. If you have gear, so you can choose which allowed gears they have. This is the jelly cat, and I've sorted it so the jelly cat can have the jelly face or the jelly hat. And you have to fit it on there by using the arrow keys or X, Y, whatever to move it around. I used the clown makeup, we should pick something else. Let's go to hats. They're easier to see. For example, I have this bunny. To fit it on the animation, you have to go through each of the frames and move it around so that it fits properly. Once you've done that, it's on the Z index, so then when you go to do the other ones, they'll kind of already be there. If you need to change it, you're going to want to click that it's on a unique thing, change the number, unique position, and move it around. If it's animated, so you can actually create animated ones. It's the same thing where you put it on like a sprite sheet. If it's frame animation and you want it different for each one, you're going to have to do a row for each of the animations that you have here. So you'd have to do a row for idle, a row for walk, a row for sit, things like that, so that it fits all of them, because otherwise it's just gonna be all wonky on you. But if it's just the same thing for each of them and it's just a solo animated item, so for example the bunny, I have a bunny animated, I put it on animated, the height that is at, the width that it's at, and how many frames per second. So it just bounces on his head. Pretty straightforward. But again, if it's frame animation, it's gonna look a lot different. And you're gonna want to have it so that it looks more like a sprite sheet. And again, you can also use palette swap for this, so it'll use the palette editor the same way. It'll use the same one, so if you have the colors are the same as the default cat, you're gonna have some issues with it, because it will change those colors the same as you have it set up for the cat. But if the colors are different, it's easier, you just add them to here, you pick it from that, and change the color of the bunny. Collision box is just for your character. For example, for the blocks that I showed you earlier, that's where they'll hit the wall. It's here, here, here. The difficulty with this is if you have gear that's taller than it, it's not going to hit the gear. So it's going to see the gear as kind of invisible. Or when they're jumping, because, you know, they're animated, it's not going to work quite the same. But for their static generic collision box, this is where you can change it and make it a certain height or width. I have mine just set up so that it's close to their static position, because it just works out better. Makes them hit the walls nicer. Otherwise, there's a giant space between them and they'll hit the wall here while they're over here. Is there anything else that I have missed? A lot of it is just making sure that you have your folders sorted, you name them so that it makes sense. You're going to want them in different folders for your different items, unless the items fit on more than one character. But for me, I have different items for different characters, and they're all going to be a slightly different shape because their ears are a different shape. So he's got all the tiger items on. You can get outfits, things like that. So for example, do we have like a gym outfit? Or we've got a little bikini. And then depending on if you have them all in the same category, you're not going to be able to mix and match. You can only have one of each category. Whereas if you have different categories, like you can have a bikini on and you can also put a hat on at the same time, things like that. It won't show in here as the same, but when you have the extension open, you're able to put all the extra things. So for the frog, I can put something on its face, something on its head, something on its shirt, and then some little extra things, like the lemonade that I have for mine. But yeah, so that's what is good to know if you're planning on creating your own avatar. It's also good to know if you've downloaded some, and maybe you've downloaded some and you want to change the colors. It's really, really easy to do. You just have to select the colors that are in the pixel art and then create new ones so that you can change them. And for the gear, if you want that item to also have the colors changed, you can use palette swap for it. And the same thing, you add it to here, pick the color from the item, and then change the color down here. So that's really useful to know, even if you don't make your own avatars, because maybe you download like avatars from Zelda and you want to make a dark Link instead of the regular Link. It's easy to just change the color for it and then have that as an option. Or if your avatars are too small and the scaling on here doesn't work and you want them to be a different size without using the scaling on the connected page, then you can do that. You just have to make sure all the gear is also scaled so that it fits. Because for example, if I have this at a 2, it's going to be the wrong size. It has to be the same size as the cat. And again, for this, to move it, you can use the arrow keys to move it around. Nice and easy. You just have to click on which frame you'd like. Or you can use all of these things up here and just type it in manually. -1 or whichever. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that I have missed. I think that's about it. Ah, yes. So if you have an item, for example, on the jelly cat, I included a bandana for one of my followers and friends, Chris, and it has his little Biohazard King symbol on it, BHK. So I don't want this item to flip, because if it flips, it's going to mirror the words and it's not going to look right. So when he's changing a direction, the item's going to stay the same. So if you have an item with words on it, have that unchecked, because then that way, you know, don't change it and mirror it. It's also useful if you have like animated things like music notes and you don't want the music notes to be your background, make it so that it doesn't flip. But then of course you have to consider when the character flips around, if it's gonna like cover that or hit the character a bit. So you want to make it so that the music notes are high enough, things like that. I think that's about it. Of course, there could be more that I'm missing out on. I didn't exactly plan this ahead of time, but hopefully I've covered like the basics enough that you can figure out this app to make it work the best for you. If you've lost a file, so say like there's a missing avatar because you've deleted it, click this little stop button up here. It'll tell you what's missing, what errors are here. You can either fix it by going back and adding in the missing image, or you can just delete it and it will automatically remove all of them. So say you've gone through your folders and you had a bunch of avatars, and then you deleted a whole bunch of avatars, but they didn't delete from this app, you're going to want to click that. And it will tell you, like, if you try to connect and you have an error, this page will pop up and be like, you have an error, you gotta fix that before you open this. So that's what the stop sign is. Save is for saving. Folder will bring up, like, the place where you can find all the boss files, all the avatar files. So if you've downloaded things from the Steam Workshop, you can see all the avatars that have been downloaded in there, as well as on here. The question mark brings you to the documentation, which goes over the basics, goes over some of the commands, languages for the language, cloud save. I guess I'll just show some of the commands that you can do, just as like the final thing. So we'll spawn some people in here, look at them go, and I'll show you how you can do something. So we've got me. Oops, I didn't click. Got me over here. If I click on me, I can enter a command as myself. But if I have somebody else, say Grayson, I spawn Grayson in, these commands will be as him. So I could do jump, and his character will jump. I can also put on different gear. With this, I could, you know, make him go attack somebody else. Make him attack me, and start going across the screen to go attack me. If somebody, one of the things we figured out, if I do a hug command or something else before he reaches me, sometimes it cancels it out and he won't be able to attack me. But in this case, here he comes, he's slowly coming across the screen, and he's gonna yeet my character. I will come back, but it temporarily makes me disappear, the same as if I do a mass explode. Everybody just obliterates into nothing. But they do come back, because they have been spawned, unless they're, you know, not talking at all, and then maybe they just won't come back. But usually they come back. Since I'm a bot moderator, I can do a bunch of the mass commands. Again, you can set this so that if you want your followers or subscribers to do this, you can change it, but I really recommend this one to be kept to just bot moderators. You can do mass jump. If you have special commands, like I have bounce commands and boogie commands for my characters, you can make them all do that at the same time. The little Jellycats can sing. So they'll do a sing animation while everyone else is just vibing. Same with mass boogie. Dance around. Birds do not have that. What else is there? You can do... I've already gone through mass fart, mass jump, mass sling at 900, 900. Makes them all go flying at that power and that angle. Mass bomb makes all the bombs fall down. You can do Battle Royale, starts the battle, and it would show up on your screen. So this one, usually there's a plane that goes across. For me, I made this little cat in the cloud. Drops everybody and they all fight to the death. So I recommend, like, if you're just starting out trying this app, I really recommend just coming in here, having yourself, and spawning a bunch of people in and testing out the commands as yourself. You can spawn anybody, any of your viewers in here if you'd like. You just type their name and search for them and then hit the spawn button. And then that way you can test it out with friends without your friends actually needing to be there. If you don't want to use the spawns. And you can just test out, you know, going through the boss battles, going through the basketball, what it looks like on your OBS, and what it looks like on here as well. So it's a really good way to like practice using it, and just going through and seeing what all commands are available. A lot of it is just practicing and testing things out, once you know the basics of everything else. So hopefully, while we watch Grayson destroy everything, hopefully this has been useful to you, for learning some of the basics of stream avatars. I'm sorry if it was a little bit all over the place. I didn't plan this out, how I was gonna do it. But hopefully you learned something that's useful for you. Maybe helped you figure out how to do something. Yeah, that I think is it for my little walkthrough. I actually did this walkthrough because one of my friends who I got this app for, because they've been wanting it, is not tech savvy and wanted some help going through it. So hopefully this helps them. If it helps more people than that, that's great. Yeah, this has been me going through stream avatars with you. Hopefully it helps. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can throw it in the comments section and I'll try to pay attention to my YouTube. There's also, again, the Discord for stream avatars. They also have a help page, support page, things like that in there. And the person who made this app is in there answering some questions as well. But to be honest, he's not that helpful. Like, he's really great. Like, I think he gets tired of the same basic questions. So usually it's other people helping out with the answers. But still, it's a very useful thing to do, to learn more about the app that maybe I haven't covered here, or like extra little things. Because there definitely is more than what I've covered, especially if you're like into coding things, because there are options for that in here that I didn't cover. But as far as like the basics, I think I covered most of it. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. That's it. That's all. That's the walkthrough. Shout out to Sinlin for asking me to do this and making me talk to myself for Lord knows how long. See ya! And again, thanks for watching. Bye!